mighty maths doctor is here. Batsirana kuti vanhu vakwanise kugona maths. Indinozviziva, I'm fully aware that maths dzinonetsa vanhu vakawanda. Maths dzinovhara vanhu vakawanda. Tichikwidibira vanhu vakawanda zvakanyanyisisa. But hazvisi invincible kugonekwa kwemaths. Maths dzinogonekeka. I'm fully aware kuti tinofanira kuti tichasei kuti vanhu vakwanise kuti tiri vese kutadza kunenge kuchiitwa maths. Groundwork ndio inenge isipo. We need a solid base kuti ugone maths. Ndio chokutanga. Right, we want to talk about problems. Tombosolve ma problems. Timbozviratidza zvatinotaura practically kuti tikumboti kana maths dzinonge dzinetsa. Chii chinenge chichanyonetsa? Zvinenge chifamba sei kuti dzinetse? What are the difficult parts? Toda kuti tirapanure zuva ranhasi. Let us give an example. For example, we're going to put a question, which is just something like this, whereby we have got an angle, like for example 60 degrees, and we are simply saying this is 8 meters long, and we have been asked this is x and this is y. So the question is simply find x and y. Find x and y. The question is, the answer should be in surd form. Once you see this type of a question where it is saying the answers should be in surd form, find x and y answers. Let us write it down as well. Answers in surd form, so that you do not confuse anyone. So I will now say solution. Right. Tokurapanura kuti semedzi dzichinetseka dzichinetsa vanhu zvakanyanyisisa. Chinoita kuti munhu avharwe nekukwidibirwa. Munhu anenge ari usiku akapetukwa katatu kuti atarise problem kuti unoitangira papi. Chii chinenge chambokonzeresa kuti agove neusiku utatu kushaya zvandotangira papi? Ibasic yenyaya inobvira kwa zvakambobva kupi zvizosvika apa. So I will rewind a bit and do a recap kuti konzwisisa. That's the method yota unokwanisa kugona maths. Saka usina mabasics emaths, usina background yayo yezvinhu zvacho, hauna kwaunokwanisa kuenda. Like right now in this particular case, munhu wese akatarisa apa hapana kwaanomboziva kuti ndikuenda nekupi, because anenge asina base, anenge asina mabasics azvo. Saka ndoita ka recap kuti tione tokonzwisisa kuti zvinofamba sei. Every teacher should do a recap in every topic kuti vanhu vakwanise kugona maths. Ndo zvatofanira kuti tidzidze izvozvo. Right, here we go. I'll do a recap. Because ndinoziva kuti hapana chinombobuda ndikasadzokera mashure kundiwo tikaita sei tingamove forward sei uku. Right, we need to understand what we mean by surd form. In surd form, this is a recap. We are saying if we have a question like, for example, square root of 9, the answer is 3, number 2. Square root of 16, the answer is 4, and number 3. Square root of 64, the answer is 8, number 4. Square root of, let's say, 25, the answer is 5. So these are perfect squares. These are called perfect squares. These are called perfect squares. Right. Once we have got something like this, we've got square root of 1, square root of 2, square root of 3, number 3, square root of 7, number 4, square root of 11. These, we can leave the answers like that. In other words, it means we are not required to use a calculator, and we are not required again to find the answer from a table when the question is asking you to give your answers in surd form, to give answers in surd form. That is where we are looking at. I've seen most vanhu vazhinji, especially A level, akangona question chete angofunga kubata calculator. Vanhu A level vanospoilwa. Nyanya again veCambridge vanospoilwa zvakanyanya. Vanonetseka maths pamusana pekuti vanongofunga kubata calculator pesi paangoda kungoika any sum yega apa vakutonetseka manje apa kuti akomana zvako surd form zvinoti apa need calculator apana chavanozomboziva pekutangira kana vachinge vangodzaro. I've also noticed kuti ukangonzizvo even unonzani autanga kutobata calculator pamusana pekuti vanojairira calculator zvisingaite. Aiwa apa padiwe calculator apa. So these are in surd form. These answers, we can leave them like this. In other words, we are saying we don't want decimals. That is what it simply means. So in surd form, these are in surd form. So these are in surd form. But how do we find out, or how do we express in surd form? How do we work out the problem? Kuti inge in surd form. I will now say, like for example, evaluate. Answer in surd form. Answer in surd form. So A, for example, we can say square root of 12. How do we do that? We will now come here and say 12. We divide by 2. 2 into 12, 6. 2 into 6, 3. 3 into 3, 1. We can group these two. Zetachi square root. Says on that order apples. Like what I've just mentioned there. Could you have a square root of 4 multiplied by square root of 3. So 4 times 3 is still, let me not separate it yet. Let me put it like this. This is 4 times 3, right? 4 times 3. Then we separate like this, say 4 multiplied by 3. In other words, the answer will be now square root of 4 because in a perfect square, 3, like that. In other words, this answer is in surd form. Tukurapanura zvatoda kuchita kuitira kuti timbe takanenge ka background bijana tikonzwisisanawo nevamwe vanokwanisa kuti vanga vachinzwisawo kuti zvinenge zvichifamba sei. Right, B. I just want to do another one. Like for example, we can also say something like 63. Right. How do we express this in surd form? We'll now say again 63, and then we divide 3 into 63. We've got a 2 here and a 1. Right? And then again we can divide by 3. 3 into 21 is 7. Right? 7 into 7, 1. So I can group these two and say square root of 7 and square root of 9. Square root of 9, which is 3 square root of 7. So the answer is again in surd form. If it is like that, that is the answer in surd form. Right? So what exactly are we talking about? It means then that we now want to have an answer which is in this format when we are saying the answer should be in surd form. That is what we are talking about. So here I've actually worked out problems and actually teaching those what are going to be some surds. Those are not right. Whereby we can have answers. Right. This particular problem, for us to work it out, again, we have to understand. You can derive the formula because you know formulas as niggas see now. Steps. Step up, step up. My dexterity is so I will rewind again and say, how do we now derive the formulas and we shan't say papa? Because I know the answers. But so I will actually show that out again. So I will actually draw it out here and say, and start from, for example, 45 degrees, whereby we've got this triangle, and this is a right angle triangle. We are talking about right angled triangles. So here, if I say 45, talking about 45, don't derive my formula as such. Ndakuti ndatize maths kuti zvadzinoita kuti dzikuoneka unofanira kuchiziva kugona kuziva ichi oziva zvolinkana manje apa iwewo manje kuti hauna kana 1 chaunoziva chouku hauna kana chimwe chaunomboziva chepapa ende hauna chao chaunomboziva apa uri usiku wega unogobatanidza sei zvinhu zvokubuda sama mukuona panenge pane maproblems. Saka maproblems ekuti kana zvaakumberi zvee zvakuda kuziva mabasics malinks ezvese izvi zvigokwana kuunganidza zvigokwanisa kubudisa maanswers. Here we go. I want to work out this one. Here, if we go to 1 here and 1 here, because my sides are yakaenzana. It means 1 and 1. It means, again, Pythagoras theorem. Couldn't one of the Panapakareba second, Panaparuana, drinking that with Pythagoras theorem. Do to more to make go Nika. Zino link and my link line, Pythagoras. All right? We are proceeding. Mathematics, a usage of symbols when we are working out problems, and it is a language. Patotikono kurukura chaura tese izvandikutaura izvi vazhinji avagona kuzvinzwisa because language yatinotaura nezvayo. Rikati manyatsodzokorera shoma. Why is it that vanhu vanonetseka maths munhu akandironetseka metsi handizvinzwisisi, unofanira kuti uita sei? Ngatinzwisisei. If someone is saying math is difficult, what should we do? Go back to the basics with that particular person. That is the solution. Go back to the basics with that particular person. No kwidza going upwards with that particular person. Don't agogona maths. Saka zvandikutsanangura izvi zvakaoma izvi, asi zvinobvira kwidza tokwanisa kuda sei kurapanura. Kwese yangu haisanda answer. Ndikudzidzisa zvese kuti kuona kuti aiwa chiko chinombonzi masadzi toarapanura. Ko zvinenge zvambofamba sei kuti tikozoita izvi? Ko masadzi tikoashandisa papi? Zvese zvinofanira kuchizikanwa kuti tikwanise kuti urapanura kukwanisa kuweka a problem. Right, here we go. I was actually saying again, you need also to know Pythagoras theorem. In other words, I'm saying here, for us to get x here, if I put in x, it means x squared is equal to 1 squared plus 1 squared. This is Pythagoras theorem, which means x is equal to square root of 1 plus 1. In other words, we are saying x is equal to 2. So here, to pana x pana patakutesachi square root of 2. This is no reverse. So, atisati tanga kurapanura question. Zvakuda zvakare knowledge zvakare yekuziva zvakare kuti ko trigonometrical zviri kuwanda ka trigonometrical ratios dzinofamba sei zviri kuwanda. Right, trig ratios. In other words, we are saying number 1, we've got our tan theta, which is the angle. It is opposite over adjacent. We have to know trigonometrical ratios, trig ratios. Opposite over adjacent. In other words, I'm now saying I've got this angle. Could go to opposite the group no opposite about adjacent up. So it means 1 over 1. So the answer is 1. So when we're saying tan, I shouldn't say theta actually. Let me put the 45 because 45 is there. So we are saying tan 45 is equal to 1. Number 2, if I also say sine 45, again I should say 45. Sine 45, it is opposite over hypotenuse. Right? When this is the angle, this is the opposite over hypotenuse, so it's 1 over square root of 2. Number 3, cos 45 degrees. These are all in degrees. It is adjacent side over hypotenuse side. Right? So when I'm talking about adjacent, we are saying nearer the angle. Angle in the E. We go 45 plus 5, 90. And then 90 plus 90 over 180 degrees. So our 1 over root 2 again. So these are the answers that we have derived. These are the formulas that we will use when we have got angle 45. What are we talking about? Ndisanda answer mbunzo ndotenda nambopa mbunzo unoenda nezvandataura izvi i45 degrees ndozoenda pap ane iyo manja. So here we go. We are now saying, given a question is like this. The question is something like this, 45, and then we have been asked maybe something like here is 9 meters, and this is 45 degrees, and here is x, and that is x, and then they now say find the x in surd form. Remember, we are dealing with surds, and this answer should be in surd form. So here we go. I'll say, okay, when you're dealing with an unknown, put the unknown at the top, right? And then over the hypotenuse side, right? Which means I will say x over 9. X over 9, which is opposite. I then say opposite over hypotenuse, right? Opposite over hypotenuse is sine. So it's sine 45 degrees. Right. I'll now say, okay, how can I now get the x? I'll now say multiply both sides by 9. 9 sine 45 degrees is equal to x, because I'm looking for x, which is the value. Now 9 multiplied by 45 degrees. ndopa zvakupinda manje apa kuti kunyatsoreveka tikuweka using surd form. Right, 45 wedu ndo sin 45 in the iri panapa inova 1 over root 2. 1 over root 2 is equal to x. In other words, ndiri kuti kana usingagone kuzvidhiraivha ka unofanira kutoisa mumusoro kukrema kuti ugoziva kuti sin 45 inonzi 1 over root 2 otokrema oramba wina zvomusoro. Zvino chakaipira kukrema ka ukarova mbama ka zvinhu zviwa zvabuda apa auchaziva ukanganwa manje wapinda muexam. Saka tiri kuti aiyo unogona kuzvidhiraivha semadhiraivhiri andoita ndichidhrowa triangle yacho ndichidaisiwa ndichidhiraivha maformulas acho andishaisa ndoenda up. Maformulas acho ndinawo ndiaya. These are the formulas E ne anoendera ne45 degrees. Maformulas ekuti kana ndichinge ndada kupuwa kana ndada kusubstitute pese pakanzi sin 45 ndoziva kuti answer ndiyacho ndeiyo kana kuti ndo yacho inofanira iri pepa. That is what we are talking about. So here we go in surd form. So this now becomes 9 over root 2 is equal to x. But atisiye maanswers akadai so kana tichita nemasurds. Why? We have to again to rationalize. So this same question ndiri kuuya nayo panapa ndoti 9 over root 2 is now equal to x. Pakuda madexterities ekunzwisisa manje chi masurds zvakakwana. Right, after knowing the basics of surds, you also know you have to know how to rationalize. When we are rationalizing, we are simply mean rationalize. We are saying the denominator, the one that is at the bottom, should not behave a square root sign. So rationalize. Denominator should not have a square root sign. A square root sign. That is what we mean by rationalizing. So here we go. I now multiply both sides by square root of 2. So 9 over root 2 multiplied by root 2 times root 2, which now becomes, this now becomes x is equal to that, which means 9 root 2 over upper pasasapeno verse 4 upper, sorry, 4 root square root of that one, square root of 4, which is 2 times 2, 4. Then after that we now say it now becomes 9 root 2 over square root of that one is 2. Saka haisisina square root sign pass. Saka ndenenge ya answer manje the answer in surd form. Atikutsvaga square root of 2 nyanye ve A level ve A level. Vatokodokotoka kuti question calculator neve Cambridge. Kangore question calculator kwete kana zvanzi question in surd form. In surd form. Zvikuti kuti ausikutsvaga calculator kuti utsvaga kuti square root of 2 ndiyani. With the answers are not supposed to be in decimals. I think I've answered the question inotaura nokutsanangura zvinonzi surd form. Zvinenge zvichireve zvakakwana kuti masurds acho ndeapi. Masurds ndeaya. When we have, these are perfect squares. If it is not a perfect square, like for example square root of 23, we don't want the answer to be in decimals. We leave it as square root of 23. Tikati sus a square root of 11 and 7 or all that, we leave it like that. Atibate calculator. Those nonsense will leave the answer in surd form. So those are in surd form. Like in this particular case, square root of 2, ndongo isiwe ka square root of 2 and such a calculator. Do answer matsvakira dziri kuitwa. Right, I've actually shown you what we are talking about in all that. Right, I will now move forward to this other one now. The page as you said. Proceeding now, trying to find out the solution on this particular problem. Ndakusvika panje ku problem yangu chaiyo. Ndambenge ndichifamba pesa kuti kunzwisisana vanokwanisa kunzwisisa. Kana usina kunzwisisa haisi mhosva. Zvinoreva kuti ayewa unofanira kudzosera kumashure zvakare pane zvakawanda zvausingazive zvokuti ukwanise kusvika apa haisi mhosva. Kona munhu asingagonimetsa haisi mhosva ane mabasics anofanira kuziva. Right, again I need to derive the formulas to use again here. Apa anga iri 45 apa ndachikuratidza kuti inowekwa seproblem yacho katine 45 degree type of an angle of a triangle. Here I go. I also derive these other formulas again. How do I do that? I will now draw this, whereby I will say, right, 2, 2, and 1, 1. We are simply saying these sides are equal. This is an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle. In my sides, I can say, neri. Saka 2, 2, 2. yakaenzana kwese. In other words, zvinoreva kuti madegrees acho, the degrees are again 60 degrees here and 60 degrees there, and then this is now becomes 30 degrees. It now becomes 30 because 60 plus 30 becomes 90 degrees, and then this right angle become again another 90 degrees. 90 plus the other 90 becomes 180 degrees. We know that our triangle has got 180 degrees. So here we go. I'll now say number 1, tan 60 degrees. I'm deriving the formulas like what I've done here, and then use the formulas to solve the particular problem. Here I go. Tan 60, I said it's opposite over. Before that, again, I'll find this line by using Pythagoras theorem like what I did here. I'll get square root of 3 after doing that. So this line, it will be square root of 3 after using Pythagoras theorem. Zvandaita apa ndichitsvaga line iri ndozvandinoita zvakare apa kutsvaga line iri rinowanikwa nokuti 1 squared plus x squared is equal to 2 squared, because kuPythagoras theorem ndiye inenge iri hypotenuse anditika. So here we go. We now say tan 60 is opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. So it becomes root 3. Opposite side over adjacent. Number 2, after tangent, we look to sine. Sine 60 degrees is here. Again, it is opposite over hypotenuse. So root 3 over 2. And then number 3, cos 60 degrees. It is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse side, right? So I'm done with the 3 the trigs, the 3 trigs. And then number 1, tan 30 degrees. We are now on the 30 degrees. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the opposite side is this one and the adjacent is that one. 1 over root 3. 1 over root 3. And then number sine 30. Sine 30 degrees. We are saying the angle is that one. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Half. Number 3. We are now at cos 30 degrees. The angle is this one. Adjacent side over the hypotenuse. So root 3 over 2. What am I doing? I am deriving the formulas to use so that I can solve the problem. And this way I can imagine saka my formulas down the I. These are my formulas. Like what I did here. My formulas were these ones. When we are dealing with 45 degree angle or triangle. Here we go. I'm now solving now this particular problem now. That's Shikaman. Now good, okay, what do I have? I've got opposite over hypotenuse. Right? So I'll now say x over 8. I'll say opposite over hypotenuse. Over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse, again we said it is the sine. Right? I'm using this angle, opposite over hypotenuse. So I'm using 60 degrees. So I say sine 60 degrees. Right? Which means I've got my opposite over hypotenuse. I now multiply both sides by 8. 8 sine 60 degrees is equal to x. Right? And then 8 multiplied by sine 60. I've derived it. Sine 60 is root 3. So I'll say root 3 over 2 is equal to x. Right? I can now divide both sides here by that. And now get 4 root 3 is equal to x. Done. So the answer is already in that form. Square root of 3 in the hand. Right. It means this is now how we solve that particular problem. Right. When akauya kwauri achiti andigone maths ndinonetseka maths ndinovharwa nemaths mupesamu dzekumashure kumbodzekera kumashure usati munhu handiri form 4 akabata bhuku reform 4 kuti ndiri form 4 ongomudzidze zviform 4 izvozvo kwete kana achivharwaka itombodzekera mashure kwete bhuku 3 kana nda grade 7 iye usamuudze ndikuita zvinhu zvegrade 7 dzokerera mashure kana grade 6 chako chaiko ufamba naye. Saka what am I talking about? I mean kuti zvinoda patience kuti udzidzise munhu akogona. Zvinoda patience. Vamwe vari kubvunza vachiti ko munhu uyu sei wachita anogona zvakazomira sei zvakazomira just in case vamwe they are in doubt kuti ko munhu anenge achigona sei achigona zvese zvese anogona izvi. No, zvese nechikoro zvirimo, tarenda ndakapiwa naMwari kuti ndigone kugona maths idzi. I always repeat this. I got involved in more than 17 accidents in my life and ndaumbofa. Ndakati kuseini ndisiri kufa. Ndikati no, Mwari pane chavakanditoa kuti ndenge ndichiraramira inini. Idzi somidzi kuti ndikone zibatsiridza kuti vanhu vagogona maths. Nyangwe anofoira zvakaita sei, anotadza zvakaita sei, ndinomuda. Ndo anolava ivo vanonzi vane mayu kuti ndopatoratidzwa unyanzvika tichipasai vo vanenge vane mayu vacho. Kusei ndichizvozvigona ndakazowedzeredza zvakare. Tarisai muone pane ndine HND. Vamwe just in case vamwe vari kudhauta kuti ko ari kugona sei zvese zvayewa. Tinazvo kuti chikoro chacho ichocho HND ina IT. Kune maths kuti dzinenge dziriko ikoko. BTech again, Bachelor of Technology in Information Technology in IT. Again, kune maths zvakare kwese ikoko. And then again, I've got an EDBL, Executive Diploma in Business Leadership. Maths dziriko zvakare ikoko, tichita zvakare. Zvese zviriko. And then number 4, I've got again a Masters in Business Leadership. Zviriko kuti zvinana maths zvakati sakana zvako kwese. Saka okay, andina kupera Masters again in Business Administration yeku University of Zimbabwe. Again, zvese zvichitirazvo. Right, so I'm loaded. Azvina kupera zvimwe ndinoda zvikutombokanganwa. CIS part ndakazongogumira pa part B. Ndangonoti anyway zvimwe zvacho handina kuzokwanisa kuzvipedza, nguva inenge chirema zvakawanda nezvimwe zvokuita zvese. Ma-certificates e-IT ma-certificates e-IT ndinotori nemurwi unotoutsvaga katswanda kokufamba nako kuti ukana vachada vanenge vachada. Saka ayekwa zvinhu zvakakwana izvi. Ndoda kuti muite neconfidence nemunhu amukutaura naye. Mozoti munhu ayo anoketa ketology. Mukaona munhu achiita zvese izvi zvinoda ane ketology. Right, I now finish up my question. Apa kwasara why andisandawana why. Ndoda kuti ndiwane why wangu pano, so I can use this part I think pana panokwana up to work out that particular problem. What are we saying now this time? We are now saying we've got y over 8 over y over 8. Y over 8. What is that now? Ndozvo ndotanga kunyora izvi ndikuti muone maitiro acho azvinoitwa. Unotanga kunyora y ozonyora the unknown ozonyora the other one. Ndoti ini zviri kurevei zvikoti do iri padhuze nani naii, saka it is the adjacent side. And then over the opposite side, over the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Right, what is that? Adjacent over it means it is cos 60 degrees. Right, very quickly, 60 degrees iripo panapa yakanzi cos 60 degrees in half up. Unongonyora apa kuti chi 8 multiplied by half because ichaenda is equal to y, and then auto divide by 4, so y is equal to 4. Done. Thank you. The my best doctor. So in conclusion, I'm simply saying kuti maths dzikogonekeka. What you need to have is kudzokera mashure munhu akatadza kudzokera mashure futi munhu akatadza kudzokera mashure kusvikira wasvika kana grade 1 zvakana basa kuti ari form 4 ndo zvinoita kuti munhu agone maths. Ndo zvatinoita kuti munhu agone maths. Saka munhu wese ane potential yekugona maths as long as you have patience naye. Saka what we need to do, like in this particular case we've talked about surds. We have done a recap. Every topic you should have a recap. Do a recap and then show everyone and then go and move forward and then answer the question. So that is what I'm talking about. The mighty maths doctor. Thank you.